So basically what happens is on everybody's desktop in the clinical area, there will be this referral form now, okay? We're not going to be using the other referral form. So it'll be, what's that?
I like the map.
Yeah, it's got, see, water view.
It's really cute.
It's got city view. It's got park view. Isn't that fun? Okay, so now, so over here, it will be filled out in the back. It's a fillable PDF, so you'll put the name, okay? So Angelo the Great. Right? The information that is necessary is the phone number. This needs to be filled out in front of the patient so that the patient, we can confirm their phone number and their email. Don't go off of the family file because sometimes people at the front desk forget to ask, have there been any changes in your email or anything like that? But we won't talk about that at this point, right? So, so make sure that this is filled out because it does a double check for us to make sure that we have their phone number, their email address. It's imperative we have a way to contact that patient, okay? So, right? Ooh, sorry. Okay, so now you don't fill this part out though, all right? This part will be left blank. That will be filled out by the front. And there are 4 selections. There's actually 5 selections here. You're going to pick one. So it could be a situation where there are multiple teeth, recession on one, implant on the other that are concerns. There's only going to be one that you're going to pick on. We don't want to completely overwhelm the patient, okay? So the way that we want to tackle it is say that there's recession. You'll click right here on recession, all right? And that's what they're going in for. If you want to add additional notes, you can click on here at other, okay? Okay? And it describes all of the conditions there. So when the patient leaves, even though we've told them what's going on, we can't expect them to remember everything that we talked about. So it gives the opportunity for the patient and their leisure, you know, when they're on their GO train or whatever, to look at this and say, oh my God, okay, I really got to go and see this periodontist so he can heal me, right? This is where you guys say, that's a great form, Angelo. And I say, thanks, guys. Okay. At this stage, after you've filled all this information out, you click on print and it will print to the front, okay? The patient will now go to the front and an appointment will be made the way that it has been made already. On here, rather than an appointment card, right on here is where you will fill out by hand. It doesn't have to be in the computer anymore because this will be a piece of paper that's printed out to the front, right? By hand, you'll just write on there, you will be seen by the periodontist on blah, blah, blah at that time. What we're going to try, and this is where I have to coordinate with Helen, since you're going to be handling the periodontal, all that stuff, yay, is we're going to try booking the appointment for the patient about 3 weeks out, 2 to 3 weeks out. So we're going to try and refrain from doing that week or anything like that, but 2 to 3 weeks. The reason is, and Helen will coordinate it, but the reason is, and you can tell the patient, is we're going to try to submit to the patient's insurance what the procedure is for recession. So since they're being seen for recession, okay, we're going to try and have the procedure code for recession sent to their insurance so the day of their appointment, they can sit down and discuss with Dr. Thang their dental concerns, in addition, their financial concerns, okay? So you can let the patient know that that's what we're going to try and do. This form...
Question. That might, just because we need Dr. Lang to kind of evaluate to see what kind of...
We're just going to submit it based on our...
like a general?
Yep, on our assumption. At the bottom, we're going to have a little blurb that says there's a consultation fee of $90 to $180 that may not be covered by your insurance. We will be submitting the code for the procedure for you to have so that they know that it's an estimate, okay? Yes, it won't be accurate, but 80% of the population, 80% of the patients that we send, it will be for it. You know, like, I mean, we're pretty good at evaluating.
Okay.
Okay? So it's just so that they have, and we'll explain that hygiene or assisting or whatever, we'll explain that it doesn't mean that you're going to get the procedure done, but just so that you know what your insurance coverage is. And that's a dialogue that you'll want to have with the patient in the operatory and say, just so you know, we'll submit it to your insurance company so you know what your coverage is, and then Dr. Thang will determine if you need it or not, okay? So me and you, Helen, will go over some of the stuff. This form, after you write down here, reception now, after reception writes down there, will be faxed to CityView. Okay? We're going to just do the faxing for now, just so we can get the ball rolling. And then Helen is going to coordinate all of the treatment and blah, blah, blah. Right? You're very excited about that, right, Helen?
Totally.
Totally.
I'm so
Love it.
excited I can't like
Awesome.
express it enough.
So then on that day, CityView is going to continue doing whatever they're doing. Dr. Thang is going to sit down and he's going to evaluate based on the stuff that we talk about. Prior to the patient coming in, Helen is going to have the record, so it's going to show all of the concerns. So in other words, if there were 3 teeth, an implant, a crown lengthening, and a recession that Dr. Thang should look at from our side, the patient, Dr. Thang will know about that. When the patient is here in this chair, or the other chair, one of the two, Dr. Thang goes through his evaluation the way that he discussed, okay, and evaluates all that stuff. The appointment for the following, there's going to be a discussion back here that Dr. Thang is going to have with the patient regarding finances now, because he's going to have that piece of paper that says how much the mucogingival graft will be and how much the insurance will cover, and the appointment should be booked right in the operatory before the patient goes to the front. Okay? We want to increase the level of compliance. We want to make sure we understand, like, I mean, dentistry is expensive. It's a lot of money. If somebody told me to drop $1,000 for a free gingival graft that I don't really understand what it is, because it doesn't hurt me right now, it's very difficult. But what we're trying to do is educate them a little bit more to try and have a little bit better compliance, because the work that we are recommending is stuff that we really truly believe in, you know? I have a really, really big filling that Hamad did. I need a crown on it. It doesn't hurt me, and I keep forgetting I gotta put a crown on it. Why are patients different than what my thought process is right now? But we still have an obligation, knowing what we know, that we have to be on top of them. So that's what the effort is with all this. After the procedure is done, so the procedure was set, the appointment here, the patient will come in for their procedure, and then they return back. We're going to develop a system whereby Waterview or Parkview will be notified to change this box to a different color. Okay? So for right now, I gave you a complete overview of how it works. All right? Every department will have their own thing. The main thing is you will be selecting a square box in red to indicate that there is a concern there that needs to be evaluated. You will be going on the desktop, on this page, filling it out in front of the patient, clicking one of the concerns, it doesn't matter which one, but one of the concerns, so that you can at least submit to insurance to have an idea of what insurance coverage should be, all right? And go from there.
So then you guys would need like the fee for periodontal.
We'll handle all of that, yeah, okay. Are there any questions? How, did it all make sense?
Yes.
But okay, if there is like 3 boxes highlighted and one tooth needs crown lengthening and the other one is recession, they gonna send to the insurance both all the 3 tooth as a recession?
No, it's going to be sent to the insurance. You know, there will be at least one of them sent to the
Or
insurance.
just one?
I don't know. We don't know yet. But on the day that the patient comes in, we want a predetermination. You know, I'm still trying to figure out which one will be sent in as a predetermination, because that's where we have to work it out. But there will be a predetermination, whether it's for the crown lengthening or whether it's for a free gingival graft or something. So the patient at least has an idea, you know?
Okay, I have questions. Is there anywhere where we, like right now we don't mark down the attachment level, so how much attached tissue there is. So that should be marked down, because if we're looking at mucogingival defect, we don't have that. We only go by recession now, right? Because right now when we're comparing back to say last year and the year before and whatever, we can only look at the amount of recession and not the attachment level, because we don't measure that.
Right. So at this point in time, the way to handle that, rather than it being measured, okay, is, and this is the part that I forgot to mention, so thank you, Seville, you're wonderful. If there's an area of concern that we need to evaluate, okay, like the red boxes is, there is treatment that needs to be done. Area of concern, and this is what you guys should be doing for other stuff as well, just put a watch on it, okay? That watch will give a W at the bottom, all right?
And the notes.
You'll double click on the notes, okay, and then you can put, you know, concern for, you know, and whatever notes you want to help you compare in the future. For how many people are using a diagonal dent here?
Everybody. All the hygienists.
Mm-hmm. Okay. This is where you would put suspicious numbers as well. Okay. So any watch would go into watch, and then at some point in time it can change to a red box if the condition is worsening. Okay.
I have another question.
Of course you do.
Okay, so when a patient comes in, say a new patient, and you talk to them about recession, and they say, that's been there for years,
Great.
it hasn't changed,
Great.
you know, I don't see a problem with it.
Great.
So right now that I hear Dr. Thang say, well, there is, you know, more success rate with like a 1 versus, you know, going from a class 1 defect to a class 2 or 3, so how do we have that conversation with the patient in terms of they're saying nothing has moved for years and years, I know that. So do we leave it and say, okay, well, because what we're doing now is we say, okay, well, we have the recession now, we're going to monitor it, so next year we'll take a look. If it hasn't moved, you know, then we'll just keep monitoring it.
Right, and that really depends on, you can't force patients into treatment. We can only make recommendations to increase their success based on what level of importance they put on it. Like, I mean, realistically, if it's a chance, I'm giving a hypothetical, if it's a chance that I can't make a mortgage payment or have a free gingival graft, I'm making the mortgage payment, right? Because a roof over my head. So you don't know what the reason is for a patient, a fear of surgery or whatever. So we have to be respectful of that. Our job is to educate the patient on the condition that we see of their mouth, okay, and what we can do to improve it, okay? Because once he or she starts losing a little bit more gingiva, there's bone underneath that's lost, and it's very hard to replace that. So that's where the major concern with all of this is. So yes, we monitor it. Pictures, okay, are being implemented now. We take them on a yearly basis, so that's a great tool to see if things are getting worse, and it also gives them the opportunity to visualize and see if in fact it is at the same level, because there's no way that they can sit there with a periodontal probe. That'd be really weird if some patient did that, to tell me that it is at the same level as it was last year, for example.
I just want the dialogue to be the same between every hygienist and dentist
Can
that's
I
talking to the
explain it?
patient.
Can I help?
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically, the 3 reasons that I mentioned for grafting. So number 1, if it's progressing. So you can measure it. So a 3 today is like a 4 next month, or a 4, 5 the next time they come in. That's something that's getting worse over time and will continue to get worse. It's urgent, it needs to be done. If it's an aesthetic concern, it's right in the front. They've noticed it. They've noticed it for years. It's important, as Dr. Poulos mentioned, that we need to let them know that there's something we can do to help it out. Sensitivity as well. If it's sensitive, hot, cold. It's not all the time, and it'll come and go and come and go. It's like, hey, you've always mentioned that you had sensitivity. But there's something we can do to help you out. And the way it is right now, it's mild. It's easily treatable. However, it gets worse. It's going to be very difficult to treat, and very difficult to treat aesthetically, and difficult to treat predictably as well. So that's the type of dialogue that I usually have. It's perfectly fine if it's not progressing, not aesthetic, and not cosmetic, not a cosmetic concern, not aesthetic, and if it's not progressing, it's not sensitive, then say, hey, you have it, we can recommend the treatment. However, I'm perfectly fine seeing you in 6 months, doing the cleaning, and you let me know how it is at that point, because I can definitely see that there is a need for treatment, and a guy that can help out, and when you're interested, when you're available, then you can actually recommend it for them.
Does that help with the dialogue portion? Because you're completely right. Everybody should be saying fairly similar things to the patients. Are you guys okay with the dialogue?
Yeah.
Okay. Your next question.
I'm done for now.
Come on.
For now, I don't.
I'm maybe on the edge of my seat. So that's pretty much it. So I hope to have all the computers set up with the boxes and the forms by next week. Okay, and we can start doing that. All right. So just to give you a little bit of a tidbit of dental pride, if you will. Consider that us being very, very thorough to our patients is a great thing for us to do to our patients. It used to be a point in time 60, 70 years ago where people were finishing high school and they had dentures in their mouths at high school ages, right? Nowadays, it's odd for you to die without a full set of teeth, okay? And it's because we were thorough. It's because our profession has been meticulous and treating stuff early on before it becomes a problem. We don't want to deal with heart attack victims. We want to get them in shape prior. Same sort of thing with the mouth, We want to make sure that people are brushing and flossing and taking care of problems really, really early on prior to them becoming a situation, God, I lost my tooth here, doc. What am I going to do? Okay? So that's why we're trying to to change the world one tooth at a time. All right?
Yay.